so let's not bump into each other.
Okay, we'll try not to.
You good? All right. I think so. I think I can hear it. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Danny Scalise. I'm the Administrative Officer here at the Spokane Regional Health District. And thank you, all of you, for joining us. And for those of you that are online watching, thank you. Before we begin the official part of this, I'd like to recognize the extraordinary work taking place throughout our community. Firefighters, emergency management personnel, law enforcement officers, National Guard, public health professionals, volunteers, and other public servants have worked around the clock under extremely difficult conditions. On behalf of the Health District, I thank each of them for their service. I'd also like to acknowledge the elected and appointed leaders that are here today, including Sheriff Knowles, Councilman Cathcart, who is also the chair of the Board of Health here, and of course our commissioners. Commissioner Jordan is here with us today. They just had a meeting, so I'm really pleased that he was able to make his way over here. I'd also like to thank the Secretary of Health, Dennis Worsham, and the Department of Ecology Director, Casey Sixkiller, who spent a lot of time with us over the last couple days. We're grateful for the leadership and the partnership and the support their organizations have kind of provided us throughout this emergency. The Spokane Regional Health District has worked closely with our local, state, and federal partners to determine the safest and most effective path forward. Today, we're taking an important step by issuing a health officer's order that will allow the EPA to begin critical cleanup work as quick as possible and in a timely manner. Thank you to Brooke Beeler, who will also address you a little bit later here. I'm certain that he needs very little introduction, but Dr. Francisco Velasquez is our health officer and a valued member of my leadership team here. His medical judgment and public health authority are essential to our response. I'd now like to invite Dr. Velasquez forward and say a few words before he signs the order. Doctor?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And I think a few words with me is usually a misnomer, but that's okay. Happy to be here, and I do have a prepared statement that I will read. But before that, I want to do a personal reflection, if that's okay with you. So most of you may not know that when we moved to Spokane 14 years ago, first place we lived was 5 Mile, right on Strong, which I know a lot of people live. And the reason why I bring that up is because those were the early years where a lot of friendships were formed, and where I have a lot of former neighbors. We've moved since then, and lots of friends. So I had the opportunity to visit all of the impacted areas and spend a lot of time, and thank you to our friends from the State Fire Marshal, EPA, and Emergency Management from the county and the local folks here. And I was able to see neighborhoods I know, and neighborhoods that are no longer there. So I saw everything from no damage to total destruction, and I really don't have a word that I can use to describe that. So I want to share that because that weighed really heavily in my decision. So we move on to what the decision is. Today, I'm issuing a public health order related to cleanup and recovery from the Spokane complex fires. Those include Old Trails, Fairview, and Autumn fire lanes, or lanes fires. First and most importantly, this order is about protecting the health and safety of affected residents, neighbors, workers, and the broader community. A lot of people that I know. Many fire-damaged properties contain hazardous materials that are not always visible. And after my trip with the fellows that I just mentioned, you'll be surprised how many things we have at home that can become dangerous when fire is involved. Many of these things can be toxic ash, burned building materials, batteries, lots of batteries, propane cylinders, fuels, pesticides, asbestos, lead, and many other dangerous substances. If we leave those in place, this material can be spread by wind, rain, runoff, or even human activity, creating risks for people and the environment. The point there being that what happens in this yard may impact the yards around them. So that's why it's important that we do this. Under Washington law, it is my responsibility as health officer to address conditions that threaten public health, by definition. Based on the significant fire damage throughout Spokane County, I have determined that hazardous household materials on affected properties constitute a public health concern that requires prompt attention. This order authorizes the Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and their response partners to begin hazardous household material assessment and removal activities on the fire damaged properties. For homeowners, the most important thing I want you to know is this: you do not need to take any action. Fire damaged properties are automatically included, so cleanup can begin as quickly as possible and unnecessary delays can be avoided. We want to be able to bring you back home. EPA and FEMA may enter fire damaged property only for recovery-related purposes, such as inspecting sites, identifying hazards, collecting samples, removing hazardous material, and conducting environmental monitoring. This authority is limited to wildfire recovery activities. This order does not authorize criminal investigations, unrelated inspections, access to undamaged residences, seizure of personal property and related cleanup or permanent control of private property. And these folks do know what they're doing. They do it all the time, and they're very good at it. I also want to emphasize that homeowners retain a choice. Any property owner may opt out of the EPA Household Hazardous Material Removal Program. Another important point for property owners is that rebuilding should not begin until the hazardous material assessment and removal have been completed and approved. That is very important. This protects homeowners, contractors, and future occupants from unnecessary exposure to dangerous materials and helps ensure recovery is done safely. We understand that residents are eager to move forward and begin rebuilding their lives. The goal of this order is to remove barriers to recovery, reduce health risks, and help affected communities move safely and efficiently toward rebuilding. We will continue working closely with EPA, FEMA, local governments, and community partners to provide information and support throughout this process. To everyone impacted by these fires, we recognize the hardships you have endured, and as I mentioned, what I've seen, I have no words to describe. Our commitment is to make this recovery process as safe, transparent, and efficient as possible, so you can all return back, get some closure, and let's move forward. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Velasquez, and thank you, Danny. I am Brooke Beeler. I'm the Eastern Region Director for the Department of Ecology, and I'm also Ecology's lead for the state's response in the wildfires. First, I also want to acknowledge that it's been an incredibly difficult time for those of us that have been lifelong Spokane residents to see how these devastating fires have affected people. Thanks to the thousands of people that have shown up in our region, from firefighters to volunteers, supporting our community, thank you. A fire of this magnitude, we're really thankful that community members also safely evacuated. I think we can attribute that feat to a rapid response and people following public safety orders. In the coming days, as we are transitioning to recovery, your health and safety remain #1 priority for all of us. We know that everyone would like to return as soon as possible, but there are leftover hazardous materials that remain in areas where, that were burned, and they pose real risks to people and the environment. Because of the scope and the scale of these fires, the state has requested federal support to ensure everyone's safety when we're returning. Under the state's direction, EPA and FEMA are developing a plan to safely remove hazardous materials from homes damaged or destroyed by fires. The assessment and disposal of hazardous materials is going to be done at no cost. Properties must be cleared of hazardous materials before any other cleanup, recovery, or rebuilding can progress. The influx of these federal resources will aid in reducing the financial and logistical burden on our community as we navigate the rebuilding in the coming months. EPA staff guiding this response are based in Washington and are very experienced in dealing with the aftermath of wildfires. Many of the personnel that will be supporting this work were in LA and Maui supporting hazardous material removal. As Dr. Velasquez shared, they'll be looking for common household products that are no longer safe, like paints, cleaning supplies, herbicides, pool chemicals, pressurized fuel cylinders, lithium-ion batteries, and any other materials that could pose serious health hazards. EPA's team arrived on Sunday. They're already preparing to begin this work as soon as possible. Once crews clear the area from any fire risks and the additional resources arrive, this work will begin. Dr. Velasquez and Danny, we appreciate your leadership and partnership in supporting this work, and we are prepared to answer any questions. Yeah, so the question is about undamaged homes in nearby areas of impacted areas. So the state request is specific to hazardous materials only. We don't have any resources dedicated to homes that were not damaged by wildfire specifically. So the question is, how are homeowners going to know when work is being done in their area? So EPA, as I mentioned before, is pretty experienced in this work. Part of their team is actually public information specialists and folks that are here to help keep the community informed with their progress. So I'm going to turn it over to Brooks to describe a little bit more how they do the work, but they have built some really excellent resources to help keep people informed.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brooks Stanfield. I'm with the Environmental Protection Agency. In regards to how homeowners may be able to track progress, through some of our experience dealing with other fires, we've developed tools that are web-based tools where we're tracking our field teams real-time in the field and on a parcel-by-parcel basis. And we're able to publish that information on a web page so that people can see. Hopefully, if we can do it when field teams can be expected in certain neighborhoods, and then when their parcel is completed from the household hazardous material removal. So we fully anticipate to have that tool up and available in the coming days. Yeah, our team arrived on Sunday to begin our planning efforts with the local responders and state and local officials. And because of the order we've got today, that really helps us mobilize our team. We now know that we're ready, we can access the properties, so it enables us to mobilize our teams. So we already have workers that are en route starting today. We anticipate we're going to have reconnaissance teams out probably on Thursday, starting to do kind of a preview of what we're looking at and identify safety hazards that those hazmat teams are going to encounter and prepare them so that everybody knows what kind of hazards they're going to encounter. I think hazmat removal teams will begin work in the early part of next week, if all goes well.
And just follow up to that, what is the timeline looking like in total? Is it getting days, weeks, months, potentially years until we see a comprehensive cleanup across the city?
I can't speak to the whole process of a comprehensive cleanup. EPA's household hazardous material mission is a small part. It's a first step, right, that clears the way for all of the next steps that are going to take place. Our mission assignment for the Spokane complex is 60 days. We are scaling up our workforce to meet or exceed that timeline.
Thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate the EPA, the County Commission, the Sheriff, Councilman Cathcart for being here with us today to show support. I moved here a couple of months ago, and I've really been impressed with how wonderful this community has been to take care of us one another. So thank you to Spokane from me for that. So, thank you all for your time today.